cool and good news. Also very nerve-wracking just because I want to, obviously they know that I'm very new to this and everything, so I'm just trying to do everything that I can to really do the most, especially because they're over in Lansing, so it's over an hour and a half drive. So I've been doing everything that I can to do the most. But I think that's pretty cool being able to help my cousin sell his home and then his fiance's home next. So
I like it. I like it. And actually, you've had a few other things that are still going quite well for you also, haven't you?
for the most part, I do have a listing over here, thankfully. And it's great because I do have a listing. I've been having a few small setbacks though, just because my sellers wanted to list the home at a higher price than personally I think it's worth. And I've given them my opinions a couple of times. We're already 2 weeks in, and I talked to them, I think just yesterday, to let them know like we're not getting any type of additional showings or any other interest in it, and they're still kind of stuck on that highest amount. So I'm kind of in the situation of, do I just sit and wait and let them kind of come to the understanding that nothing is going to happen? You know, how much do I push to, I mean, obviously I want to promote the home even more. Just I'm just kind of in a situation of that.
I appreciate you bringing that one up. We're going to make a note, because one of the things we are going to find without doubt is that we had better be working on our pricing and price reduction strategies, our verbiage, our understanding of what we need to do, how it can be done, what the dialogue would be. I'll give you one, because many of you should already know the 4 components. But I'm just going to make a note, and we'll look to see what we do with that one, because frankly, when's the best place, or where and when is the best place to get a property priced correctly?
Like at the very beginning, is that what you're referencing? Yeah.
That's absolutely it, Becca. Yes.
Yeah, and I it's kind of on me because I did do an analysis that was a larger range, but there weren't many options nearby, and so I was kind of picking and choosing, and it was definitely on me. And the range was too wide and too high. And as soon as they saw that higher number, they're like, I want to go there. And even on day -1, before we even signed the contract or anything, I tried to give them my thoughts and opinions, but they were dead set on that higher amount. And so now I'm in that situation.
Okay, no problem. And that will happen. We do know that that's going to be out there. So that's just something that we'll figure out and how to deal with that one. Let's see, Travis, I see you up on my screen. How is it going for you? What's some of the good news recently?
Is it going? I have buyers, don't have the houses for them.
Travis, we're not, you're very, very faint. We'll come back to you if it doesn't jump in there for you. Not there.
Better? No.
Not enough.
Yeah, come back to me. I'm gonna try to figure
All
this
right,
out.
we'll do that. Aaron, I see you next up on my screen. Share some good news. What's been going on for you?
I have been getting out and doing networking and just getting my name out there more, which is really nice, and getting people responding to me and wanting to set up meetings, even just for lending and things like that. But I think that's great to get more information for myself and to get on their radar so that hopefully they can pass things along.
Big key, just keep yourself out in front. I think you're doing a nice job that you're reminding people all the time that you're selling real estate. And Beck, I know with Facebook, I get to see you out there with the things you're doing also. So it's a great reminder. Let's see, LaToya, we got you on, and
There he is.
matter of fact,
I tried to
maybe
turn
if
it down.
LaToya, you might be able to share the one thing that you and I've been dealing with. I don't know if you can, you might be in listening mode. Yeah, I think.
Can you hear
Are
me?
you there?
Yes.
Yes, there we got you. Can you share a learning lesson, what I call this week in real estate?
Share a learning
In
lesson. Yeah,
particular, I'd
don't-
like to have everybody make sure they're aware of paragraph 7. Can you share your situation?
Yes, I currently have a home under contract that is going through probate. During this time, I've had it under contract since May. The attorneys actually wanted the contract to be pushed out through July because of the delays in the court. So they were expecting the paperwork to come back fairly slowly. However, it came back fairly quickly. In the interim, my client has had some issues with his loan. So now we're at a place where he is he's gotten the loan straightened out, but the attorneys no longer have patience. They are ready to close the deal. They want to basically cancel it out and collect the EMD because they feel that we've breached the contract. However, that the savior came in and basically brought to our attention that paragraph 7 of the contract basically states, I can't say it verbatim, but if the delay is caused by maybe a program change or requirement change from the lender, that the seller basically is required to allow the client time to the time necessary to close the deal. So that is currently saving the deal, even though the attorneys are ruthless. And I feel like they're coming from my neck every day with these emails. But yeah, this has been a challenge. I'm just hoping to see it through to the end and my client ends up with the keys in his hand.
So I'll tell you, there's a real key to it. LaToya, thank you for sharing. And as I put it again, it's this week in real estate, but you need to know specifically what paragraph 7 says, because you will have to make sure that somebody understands what that paragraph says. And believe me, it has saved me a couple of times and a number of the agents that I get to work with, because I know what that paragraph says, and they just can't automatically kill the deal. It's not possible. So that was just a great share, and I wanted to have that out there. Yvette, what do you got for us to share? Hopefully we got her in a place that she's not in just listen mode. Yvette, are you with us to where you can share what you've got that's a good experience for the past week? She must be in a spot right now that's not real possible. Let's get one other one. Who else has got a good news, a good share for the week? Everybody's got something.
So the buyers that I'm on contract with right now, we're sending them listings that meet their description when we met, but I haven't been able to get a hold of them for probably 2.5, 3 weeks. I've contacted them many times, multiple different ways, and I just haven't gotten any responses back. So I'm not really sure what to do with that.
Okay, so Peyton, give me another overview of that again. I don't know that I heard you right, and more because of the way that you said, so I'm not sure how to handle that.
So I have an exclusive agency contract with buyers, and they want to purchase vacant land. And so we're sending them listings of vacant land, and they haven't gotten with me of any ones that they want to see. So I've been reaching out to them every like 2 to 3 days, and they haven't responded to me since the last time that we met, which was probably 2.5 weeks ago.
Got you. Got you. So you're more in a point of what the heck do I do? They fell off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just address that one real quick. First thing is I'm going to say, always think that everything's all right. Okay. If they fell off the face of the earth, something may have happened. So don't get frustrated and angry with anyone. Just know that there maybe something actually did happen. I still think of one agent. He was a great agent, and it was time for key exchange. And I couldn't hear from the guy. 2 days went by, which one hour was kind of unusual for him not to have responded. Knowing him well enough through the transaction, I actually called his broker. I said, has anybody heard from? Because it's not like him. I explained the whole scenario. The broker went over to his house, and as he was pulling in the driveway, the ambulance was leaving. The guy had been doing some work and touched a wire, and it hit his heart in such a way that he'd been flat on his back for over 24 hours. He couldn't get to the phone. He couldn't move. So you never know. So your message would be, gee, Peyton, this is Darwin. Listen, I just want to make sure that everything's okay. I've left a few messages, haven't heard from you. So please give me a call. At least let me know that you're okay. And obviously I'm following up on what you may have discovered, what you may have found, just looking for any feedback. Vacant land is a difficult one because, you know, in showing vacant land, you don't even have to show it, right? I mean, it's vacant land, unless if the MLS is saying don't walk it, don't do anything with it, there's not much you can do with it. Just send them out, and then hopefully they'll get back to you and give you that response. But in the meantime, follow up, follow up, follow up. And I love that you've already got a buyer representation agreement. Great job on that. That's huge.
Thank you.
Any other question toward that, Peyton?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you though.
All right. Sounds good. Hey, let's create a couple more little, hey, I could use help with. Here's something that happened the last 2 weeks. Hey, Bob, your primary student showed up. Who needs that help with the last 2 weeks? This occurred, just like what Peyton just brought up, or what Becca brought up with the aspect of price reduction. What else have you guys run into? If you, by the way, let me, this is your coach speaking. If you haven't had issues, you're not working. You're not talking to enough people. Let me be even more direct. Okay. So what, somebody share with me, there can't be two things. Share with me what you've run into.
Hey, this is Adam Sinclair. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, it's better, Adam.
Okay, I'm in the UP service to participate. Earlier this
So you're breaking up
for
now,
about an
Adam.
hour. Is that better?
Yeah, we catch you, but maybe talk a little slower.
Okay. The other day, who I had a phone consultation with, I spent about
Man, as soon as you start speaking, it starts breaking up, Adam. Is it short enough to where you can type it into the chat room?
Don't have it. I'm participating through the phone.
Okay, all right. Well, let's try it one more time.
I'll send you.
Not gonna do it, is it? All right, yeah, Adam, let's see what you can do or get a better connection. And I'll move on to see who else has got something. So who else has got an issue for the past couple of weeks?
I've got a couple of unusual situations. They're not really issues and they're not really good news. They're just kind of unusual.
Go ahead, Andre.
I had one client come through Op City, and they live in Kansas. They're pre-approved VA for $93,000. They want a home anywhere in the mitten of Michigan, and they want at least 2K land, but they can't have any mobile home. But they're willing to go anywhere in Michigan as long as it's the lower half of the state. So I'm looking all over Michigan for them. And they didn't understand why a lot of agents told them no. So I had to explain trying to do showings from 4 hours away, things like that, and how that would directly lead me to spending more on them than earning. And that's why most agents are telling them no. But I'm willing to come up with alternative methods of getting things done so that
So
I'm not spending.
is the property that they want, does that even exist?
I am actually finding them quite a few options. We just haven't, every time they settle on one, it just went pending. It just like every time they say, oh, that's a good one, let's go there. I call the agent up and they said, oh, we just accepted an offer.
Okay, so we're running into the situation that we have been for months. Are they a quality buyer?
They
Otherwise,
want to buy, but they're, like I said, they're pre-qualified for 93K, which is kind of difficult. It does limit our options, but they are hot to buy.
okay. So one of the biggest messages I would throw out then when we're dealing with, I won't even call it a common buyer, but you got to be honest with them. They need to know that the property they're looking for, so is, you know, who knows how many others. So when they do find it, they're not just them, but they're competing against how many other people. And of course, when you have high demand, low supply, what happens to price? What type of offers do you have to make? So and of course, the other is you don't have time. So you have to be a very kind coach. In all, as little as I want you to tell people what they need to do, these are people that need to be told what to do. And
Yes.
even then, it may not be enough.
Right.
So, but
No,
do what you can. And by the way, put the word out there using social media. I've got a buyer who anywhere in the
Right.
state of Michigan looking for,
right.
you know, put it out there. Who knows what you'll actually be able to run into with that one.
One thing
Okay.
I'm learning is Michigan Real Source is very incomplete. There are so many boards across Michigan that don't report to Michigan Real Source. So I'm finding
Yes.
Zillow to be a more complete resource than Michigan Real Source. But once I get that information, if they're on Michigan Real Source, I can get more information from Michigan Real Source.
All right, well, let me move on. The only other thing I would say with that, Caroline, I want to let you go because you're key. Andre, Shelley is up north and may just see something. So make sure you are talking with Shelley. She might be able to help or see things because she is up in that area. Caroline, go ahead.
Yeah, I just had a quick comment for you that might help because I've also been in that situation where I've had a very broad buyer in many, many counties. And what I did is I reached out to certain agents in those areas and said, hey, I have a really particular buyer that's looking for this. Would you be willing to do a search and set them up on an email search to send the listings directly to their email? And if something happens to come up in that county or that area, I just send that buyer's agent that referral fee and say, hey, like, and let them show them in those areas. And I've had really good relationships that I've built with different agents throughout the state of Michigan doing that just as a courtesy to each other. I do it for them and they do it for me. But it can be a random agent. It doesn't have to be anybody specifically, just somebody that's working that area or has like a wide range. Like I'm based out of Lapeer County, but I hit 4 or 5 different other counties. You know, I'll go different places. So if you can find an agent like that in like the northern side, maybe Traverse City area, go towards like Sheboygan or the northern side of Michigan, hit somebody up in the thumb, maybe from our Yale office, and just make a relationship with each of those agents, let them know what's going on. And that might be a better way for you to service them because you'll hit a broader range of MLS services.
Yeah, I've explained to the client at least that they will probably end up with a different agent than me. I'm just going to help them find the right direction to look.
Yeah, if you open up that network, it might help you so that you're not, because I know,
Yeah.
especially when you're a new agent, you really want to service everybody and give your every minute to try to find them the right house. And you're really gonna drive yourself nuts if you're trying to search the entire state of Michigan. So I would reach out and maybe, gather some of those networks with those people. And then if they happen to find the right house, they'll just send you a little referral fee and you'll be good to go.
Thank you.
So here's a little bit of a discovery mission for me now, guys. I want you to all in the chat, type in the number of contacts that you've made in the last 2 weeks. Now, contact is I talked to, had a conversation, I've engaged somebody in conversation about real estate. I want you to type that into the chat. By the way, if you chat nothing, that's going to tell me 0. Okay? I'll wait. I'll be patient. I can do that. Oh, I love that, Robert. Yvette, okay. Okay, I've got 3 of you. 40-ish, thank you. Peyton, good. Laura, how many do you think you've done here?
Probably about 20, 25.
About 20.
I was out of town.
Okay, Laura's given an excuse for only the 20, 25. I like that. Okay. I got you, Andre. And you know what, guys, hopefully you just saw what Andre typed in there. This is what I want everybody else. If you're like new, like I've got Amanda and Laura here, one of the things that you're going to be faced with is if we don't talk to enough people, and I don't want to be derogatory. So Andre, you've always been wonderful, but you've given me that opportunity to bring this up. If you don't talk to enough people and you don't have an outside support system, you will find yourself in Andre's situation where I say you have to now go get a real job. And when you have to go get a real job, as Andre has just pointed out, it becomes very difficult to talk to people. So if you don't want that, the only option is to go talk to people. Okay. If you've got a support system, you got a little bit of leeway. I've got Ming in here with me, and Ming's got a little bit of that support. And, for Ming to do what, $1 million is 1 or 2 clients for you based upon her sphere of influence. And that's something we know in regards to her structure. But that's the interesting part. Hey, Andre, maybe send her your link because it's the password. So I don't even have to allow anybody in. So just make sure she's got that password. So here would be the next part then, guys. I want you to next. Hopefully you're out on appointments. There's Shelley coming in. Hopefully you are going on appointments. But what I want you to know is with the numbers that you reported to me, most of you wouldn't have had an appointment. We probably need to talk to about in the beginnings of our career until we get really, really good. I'm going to say you're probably talking to 50 to 100 before you're going to have a bona fide appointment. Okay. Now, if we're doing actively passive and somebody calls us, that's a little bit different. It doesn't take a whole lot of contacts because they called you for you to set an appointment. But then the question becomes, what are you doing for that part? So, a matter of fact, again, this is coaching. How many appointments are you supposed to be going on per week for you to make the amount of money that you want to make. If you don't know that number, that's of key concern. Okay. One of the questions I was going to ask was, is your mentor going out with you on your appointments? I don't know if there's an understanding within our mentors that they should be doing that. And two, whether or not we as mentees are allowing that. And Becca, you brought up a great reason why we want to have our mentor with us on appointment, because currently as a newer agent, what are our skills in properly pricing a residential real estate? We have very few. So the point of the mentor is they've got the skill, they've got the time in the business, they've got the wisdom, they've done a pricing presentation numerous times, and they're going to help us get better price listings, which will help them sell quicker, which will actually help them sell so that you and your mentor get paid. So one, make sure they come with you. Two, make sure that you're not restricting them from coming with you. Look, let them be the fly on the wall. They can give you guidance and coaching after you're done with that.
Sorry,
yeah, go
sorry to
ahead,
interrupt.
Becca.
I'm curious what the best wording would be if our mentor did come with us. I mean, besides saying this is my coworker, like, why is my coworker with me on this?
I like that. Great one, because that's half of why we restrict them from coming with us, is because it's like, man, that's pretty much telling them I'm brand new and I need this support system. I like this verbiage. Let's wipe them out on an appointment from being a mentor. So Valerie and Larry, who's sitting here with me, are great mentors, but are you not compensating these guys? Are you not the one compensating the mentor? And the answer is yes. So is a mentor, another word is a mentor, could you not call him a coach? And the answer is yes. I think, you know, Shelley's jumped on us with us from Port Huron, and Shelley's actually hired one of our coaches. I think, Shelley, if I'm right, you're working with Dawn now.
Yes,
And
I
so
am.
Dawn's compensating her, right? Or Shelley's compensating Dawn on a monthly basis. Now, Dawn's not going out with her on her appointments. But here's Shelley, who's a higher volume agent who's been at it forever, who's paying a coach on a monthly basis so that she can get better. The only thing that we're going to have you do is that I might say, Becca, by the way, when we get together, I want to let you know that I'm going to be bringing my coach along. This is an individual that I hire to help me become better at my business and my craft. I personally compensate them. To me, that speaks pretty highly of what we're actually doing in bringing this person along. That makes sense?
Yeah, yeah, it does.
Yeah. And it definitely elevates why that individual is there. And it should show, I believe, that you're actually investing in them as a client. And oh, by the way, not only are you getting me, but you're getting Valerie also, or you're getting Shelley, or who's your mentor? I can't remember.
Mine's Karina.
Oh, she's terrible.
Yeah, I know. Can't stand it.
Obviously,
Hey,
you guys,
Darwin.
I'm using a lot of sarcasm there. Yeah, Robert, if you would jump in there, because I like what you put in the chat room.
Nah, yeah, right. I was just messing up. So like when I had Cody running me around when he was my mentor, yeah, it was very awkward going in with two of us and stuff. But you know what? It really paid off when we left the house. That whole drive back to the office or whatever, he'd be kind of critiquing me, saying what I did great, what I didn't do. You know what? I might not have gotten them first deals, but I learned a lot because Cody set me straight. And you know, it's not really all about getting those first deals. It would be awesome to get those first deals, but it's really about learning.
Yeah, you know what, Robert, it brings me to the aspect of officiating high school basketball. And I've been at it for 25 years and I'll be working with somebody who's brand new at it. I could not imagine walking out on a basketball court as a brand new official and doing a game all by myself. That veteran I'm working with is going to cover my backside. And the mentoring in real estate does the same thing. They're going to cover your backside. If you miss something, they're going to be there for you. So, you know, think from that direction. And then here's a key, Robert, you hit it also. After the game, after the appointment, now you spend that time and review what happened during that appointment, which just, again, elevates your skill level and keeps making it go higher and higher. So I love that. Great job. Kenyana, I can see you got your hand up. What's your question?
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
In addition to also maybe a mentor going with you, have there also been times where you're allowed to go on appointments with the mentor, like follow them through a whole listing, follow them through a whole closing, follow them through open houses? Have that been implemented as well?
I love that idea, Kenyana. So yeah, don't necessarily wait for your own appointment to bring your mentor with you. Make sure your mentor knows. And I believe most of our mentors will say that, hey, I have an appointment on this day. Why don't you come with me? And you are literally just the fly on the wall. You've already done it with Larry, right? And you've done it, Ming. So that's definitely out there, and you can see what they do on their appointments and see how that relates to what you've learned in either AMP or Accelerate. What you're going to learn from Alex and I in regards to the group coaching, the one-on-one coaching, or Top Gun boot camp. You'll see how all of that relates and all of the pieces coming together within that puzzle. So I love that idea, Kenyana, absolutely. Let's talk then price reductions. First thing I want you to write down, let's do a little education here. For some of you, this is going to be a reminder. If you got something, Amanda, or okay. I want you to write this down. 4 components to a successful sale. 4 components to a successful sale. So you guys know me, I'm not always going to spill this out. Rick, you can't play, but who knows what the 4 components are? Shelly's
Can I play?
resisting. Yes, you can play, Shelly. I like it. Shelly Waters, go.
MP3.
So she just gave you a real key to remembering, MP3. It's an M with 3 P's. So write down M and then underneath P, then P, and then another P. Okay? And Shelly, do you want to throw the rest of them out and tell them what they are?
I think Andre might remember.
Oh, Andre, do you have them? This is a test.
I
The
know
coach-
one is
The coach is not
price.
out there. Go ahead.
One is definitely price.
One is the price. What's another P? Robert, do you remember? Nope. Shelly Battershell, do you remember?
No.
Oh.
Persistence?
That's
Guys,
what buyers,
this is
isn't it?
one that if anybody says, hey, you got 5 minutes in front of the group, what can you share? This would be one of the 5 things that I would give you. That's how important I believe it is that you all remember this. So M is market. M is the market. See, again, what's going to cause a home to sell? Well, we have to deal with the market. Now it is market, not marketing. And I'm going to have you make an adjustment. I want the next P for you to put as property, or excuse me, promotion. Now you have all four. Promotion would be the first P I want you to remember. Promotion. Beside that, put the words complete exposure. Travis, I just realized there's a huge tornado behind you. Wow. Take cover. Promotion, complete exposure. Then property and price are the last two. So you have market, promotion, property, and price. Now I want you to think of this. If none of you have ever heard from this, and actually what, Shelley, Andre, Rick, I know you guys have had it, but here's the question. If the number of us in real estate have never heard of this, how many other real estate agents even understand it, even know it exists? Now let's take it beyond the real estate people and move it to the general public, the for sale by owner, the expired, Mr. and Mrs. Seller who decided that they need to sell their house, so they called you. How many of them would, well, here's the question. By the way, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, are you familiar with the 4 components that cause a property to sell? What's the answer? They haven't heard of it. Matter of fact, ask a for sale by owner that question, but more importantly, here's one for the expired. Mr. and Mrs. Expired, why do you believe the property did not sell? Well, I don't know. What did your seller or what did your agent tell you? What did every agent tell an expired listing why their home didn't sell? It's the price. How many people want to hear that they overpriced their property? No one. You just told them her house isn't worth what they think it's worth. Nobody wants to hear it. We need them to figure it out on their own. So that's a key part to pricing. Let them figure it out all on their own, what their house is worth. So these 4 components come into presenting price to be able to get it to price properly. So it's the market. Can you, I, or anyone do anything about the market? And everybody shake their head. No, we have no control of it. Not one individual has full and complete control of the market, can do anything about it. So what we have to do is take the remaining 3 that we control and make adjustments to what the market is doing. So the first one is promotion. Promotion. That's your job. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, here's everything that I do to cause this property to sell. I've done everything on your house that I've done with all of the others. I'm going to do everything on your house that I've done with all of the others prior to. You will receive complete exposure. If anybody wants to find your home on the market, if anybody is looking for a home like yours on the market, they'll be able to find it. You will receive complete exposure. Okay? So now the market is what the market is, and now we come in and we provide them with complete exposure. By the way, can any homeowner who is not a real estate agent, not a realtor, are they able to give themselves complete exposure? Not even close. 85%, over 85% of the buyers who bought a home bought it using a real estate agent. So unless if they're going to get a real estate agent who's going to get them into the multiple listing service, they're not going to be able to give themselves complete exposure. So they need us, okay? Now, if we provide complete exposure, that leaves the final 2, which is the property and the price. This is the key. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, those two need to be in balance. If we have the property in balance with the price, the property will sell. Now, this is a key. In the market that we had been experiencing for about the last, wow, it's been a long time. Really, we're talking at least 10 years now. It's been an increasing market. Matter of fact, it's a very highly increasing market for the last 3 years. Almost didn't matter what you priced the property at, it was going to sell, as long as you had a listing length that the property could catch up. If you were out of balance, eventually, here's what's happening. Forget where the midpoint is. The property just rose, or the property's value just rose up to what you were finally asking. The only thing that caused it to turn into balance is that the market increased. Okay? Well, we're into market now where you better understand how pricing works. Is the market falling right now? The answer is no. So if you've been hearing that, a lot of people believe that the market is falling, and why? It's because what they're seeing is listing prices being adjusted now. Well, why is that happening? Well, because we are getting some stabilization to the rising prices. It's not doing this anymore. It's kind of leveling out. Well, if finally real estate agents started pricing properties based on a strongly rising market, and it does this, what happens to the property? They're staying on the market. I don't want it to stay on the market. I want to sell. What do I have to do? Oh, you're going to be one of those real estate agents, Ming. Ming gave a great answer, which is this. We're out of balance. What do we have to do? Bring the price down. But isn't there another way to bring a property into balance? Bring the property up to the price. It's the one thing that everyone always forgets about. Is there, or what is there that a seller could do to the home to increase the value? So if you don't want to reduce the price, we do have an option. We can increase the value of the property. Now, there's a lot of homes where that makes 0 sense. We shouldn't do it. However, there's many homes where a seller could actually, there we go. A seller could increase the value of the property by painting, floor coverings, fix stuff, finish some projects that had begun. There's all these things that really could happen to increase the value. So we don't want to automatically go, well, we got to bring it into balance. We do that by reducing the price. And actually, we just had one here in Rochester. I was working with one of the agents and the sellers directly, and we were talking about it. There was nothing they were going to do to the property. They only had one option. Reduce the price. That's the only way you're going to bring it into balance. Okay? So remember that, because if you help them understand that, they'll price it good up front. However, here's the other part. So Becca, like in your situation, my suggestion would be go back, sit down with them again, update all of your comparables, send them to them in advance, show them those that you had shown them originally that were active and what they now are. Hopefully they're all sold. And we're going to see what the difference is in regards to what their price was compared to where we're at. Hopefully it's this. Now, if they go, yes, but we're priced right there. The house that I was just referring to, it was a unique house. And they were trying to compare a one-story ranch style home with a walkout basement. Very, very, very nice, by the way. But they were trying to compare that, which was 1,600 square foot with a finished walkout basement, to 3,000 square foot two-story homes. And I know why they were trying to do that. But you see, the reality was, I hate to use the term, but it's the best way to make sense. They still had a pig. Didn't matter if you tried to call it a horse. Yeah, it was still a pig. When somebody would show up, they were going to get a pig, not a horse. Does that make sense? So they were trying to market it, but marketing might get more people there. But when they still show up, they're going to see that it's not a horse, it was a pig. It's what you got to deal with. So now I'm going to go there, show them all the comparables, give them an update, show them what homes that were on the market are now sold and closed or pending. We're going to compare the pricing and the differences. We're going to show them now, look, the inventory is possibly going up. And we want to show them that increasing inventory, that now they're getting more competition. So, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, based on everything that I've just updated you on, what do you feel that we should do with your price to be able to get somebody to buy it now versus how many weeks, Becca, have you been on the market? 2 weeks? And here's the thing, what do we know that should have happened in 2 weeks? Should have sold, right? Did you get any offers?
Yeah, so I did actually get 2 verbal offers. They were,
Oh,
yeah, so both of them were actually, I don't know the correct term to use, like fixer-uppers or flippers, I guess. Which unfortunately both of them
Verbal.
did give lower amounts.
so
And
there's a couple of things that you have there that just gave a great indication that we're out of balance.
mhm,
One is they were verbal. We're overpriced enough that a real estate agent and their buyer are saying, look, we'll buy it, but I don't want to waste my time and put it on paper if your seller isn't realistic enough to accept reality.
right.
Okay. So
Mhm,
that's the first part of evidence, and you have to make sure that your seller understands that.
mhm.
Then the second part is they were both investors. Now, were their offers reasonable? From an investor's point, yes.
Mhm.
From a seller's point, no. And I bet it was simply because it was that low. They're looking to make a profit. But that's your second indication that you're overpriced, is that the offers you did receive came from investors.
Mhm.
Okay. And again, now I'm going to go, so Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what do you believe we ought to put on your property to get somebody to make a reasonable offer and not lose any more time as we watch rising interest rates? We're also going through, oh, by the way, here's another great term to remember. We are approaching the end of the hot summer selling season. Write that one down. Put that one in quotes. You should be using that. We're approaching the end of the hot summer selling season. And it's true. Most of the homes are going to sell and close August 15th. Watch out. You think the internet wasn't working and we weren't getting in and the phones weren't going to work because of it. The last 2 weeks of August are almost always just almost a flat level off. We didn't really experience it that much, but you still see middle of August. Why is that came up the question? I believe it's because vacations are getting wrapped up and we're all getting ready for school. If people have anybody involved in school, school really starts about 2 weeks before school starts. So there's a lot that happens in those last 2 weeks. And of course, then you go through Labor Day. And about a week or two later, hopefully you'll start to see that increase in the number of sales. of which what's everybody trying to do before the end of the year? Get into their new home. So again, now you're looking at, you've got kind of September, October, maybe a couple of weeks in November, and then it starts to level off again. Now we still have lots of closings in November and December, but what happens in January? For income, right? But what are we doing in November, December, and January? It's when we're building our business. It's when we're establishing all the leads. It's when all the opportunities will hit. So as people begin to put their homes on the market, February, March, April, that we've established those leads, and that's what's going to lead to our income into the summer, again, which is the biggest part of the year. So keep those thoughts out there. The other thing with pricing, don't tell them a price. Don't give them a price. Here's the question. Are you going to tell them a price that they want to hear? If you tell them the truth, is the price that you tell them going to be what they want to hear? And the answer is no. So if you will, if I can speak fluently, freely, you're going to piss them off. You're going to make them angry. What a great way to now then turn around and ask for a contract to be signed. Right? So you've just upset them and say, so would you list your home with me for that price? There's all of the things that we have to do leading up to that. So pre-qualifying is something that we should be doing. So going out, I should know what they believe the house is worth, or as a minimum, what they would expect. Because now I know what I'm fighting. But that one basic principle, don't give them a price. I don't even like to give them a range, but I'll tell you I'm guilty. But my range is not this big. It's this big. They still need me to know what they should list the house for. But what I'm going to do is to guide them into setting a price which is realistic. One that, again, here's the next one to be able to write down, because this is part of the verbiage that we should all be learning, because we're all studying the script book, aren't we? I wish y'all had, your cameras on, but I know some of you are dual career and you're doing your best. But you should be studying a script book. Part of the problem is that why don't we call a FSBO? We don't know what to say. Why are we, what? One of the reasons that we won't call and talk to people, we're afraid somebody will say, yes, I want to sell. Yeah. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. If somebody says yes, I don't know what to do. Well, then I would figure out what that is. But at the same point, you got Caroline out there. If she's one of your mentors, you got Shelly, or you got Val, or Karina, whoever your mentor is. You have them. You don't need to know anything. Don't worry about it. All you've got to be able to do is get an appointment. Let the mentor take care of everything else. But if you don't know what to say, it's going to hold you back. Study the scripts. Which one was I on? Because I had a heart attack 6 years ago. That's my excuse for everything, you guys. If you didn't, that's going to be. What one was I going to? We were on pricing. Write this one down. The hot summer, we had that one. Yeah, but it was on the pricing. Oh, don't tell them a price. Pre-qualify them. Big range. Oh, that's horrible. Did I even start on it? It'll come to me. And I'm not even intentionally dangling a carrot. I honestly can't remember which one I was going to give you. Some good verbiage though. Oh, it's good. If you guys would have known your scripts in advance, I'd have it right off the top of my head. Pricing, pre-qualify them. Well, anyway, when you're going to do this with them, you're going to show them all the prices, and you're going to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, Would you say your house is worth more, less, or the same as? Because as you show them 3 properties that are active, 3 properties that are sold, that are similar to theirs, and all they go is, well, mine's worth more than that. Well, mine's about the same as that. Mine's worth less than that. They just gave themselves a range. And now you can say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, based upon what we've just looked at, what price do you feel you ought to put on your home to establish, I think this is what it was, a competitive, realistic asking price. Write that down. That is what I was going to give you. A competitive, realistic asking price. Competitive, realistic asking price. See, competitive is telling them we need to establish a price that will cause your home to sell before anybody else's. Realistic, that, you know, look, before you got here, if you were smoking a doobie, we might have to get back together. Or if you were drinking, or you did a couple of drugs, if something's got your imagination going wild, we may not be able to establish a price unless if you're ready to set a realistic one. And again, it's an asking price. How often does a home sell for exactly what they're asking? Okay, so it's a competitive, realistic asking price. Any questions about any of that?
I have a question.
Oh, go for it, Shelley.
What if you do all this, everything you just said, and you go through and you show them comps, and they still think theirs is better, and they still think that they want a price higher than it should be, and you know that it's unrealistic? I mean, have you ever walked away and said, oh, that's not what we're listing it at?
Role play with me on that one, Shelley.
Okay.
So I go, what price do you feel we ought to have? And you say
450,000.
450,000. You heard my voice, right?
Mm-hmm.
It went up, telling you I'm questioning what you just said. And then I do this. I mean, we can try that. Let me ask you, you had to be in Texas when, Shelley? And you wanted to be there with?
Exactly. Okay.
I'm going to go back to the motivation.
If they don't
go back to the urgency.
But what if they don't need to sell it?
Here, a couple of comments just popped in, and this is great from Renee's group. If it's really overpriced, and again, we are shifting and seeing a different market. Sometimes you are going to have to walk away. It will be appropriate. The property that I was talking about earlier, our agent decided to give it back, and it was a 800 plus listing. And he gave it back with my full support. You got to walk away, and then sometimes it is best to be the second agent. Let the first agent suffer. And there's a whole lot of measuring that you got to do with that. And then, yeah, Rick put it to me on a direct message here. It's a competitive, realistic asking price. Oh, you know, Rick, I've never actually realized that that was the acronym. It's crap. A competitive, realistic asking price. Boy, what a bad acronym for something so appropriate. It would be my friend Rick to come up with that. So bottom line, Shelley, is I can't tell you exactly what to do, other than the best answer that I can give you is turn back to their motivation and their urgency, readdress everything that we've got. What are the repercussions of pricing that high? If we were to do that and it took, and now you're not meeting at, I go into all of those things. So that's a great question. Guys, I want to throw back to one thing that I know we've talked about before, and I hope that you have done it. Oh, come on. So guys, I am showing you now the CBU Learning Center. Let me get something out of the way here. And in here, no, let me go back. I'm going to show you this really quick because that's why it did it. I need you to go back to the goal projector if you have not done it. And both in Century 21 and in the Coldwell Banker, you're going to have the Century 21 University or C21 University. Blue's got the CBU Learning Center. When you click on that, over on the left-hand side, you're going to be able to see the goal projector. And for the gold side, get with your manager. Your mentor might know about this. I'm going to be showing ours here in Rochester today. But I want you to see RE Scoreboard. RE Scoreboard is for both brands. When you click on this, it will also then basically guide you to the goal projector. And that would be simply start at the top with calculating your goals. Now you've got to have a little bit of an idea as to what you want to make. So guess at something, you can always readjust it later. This will walk you through by simply filling in the blanks. I'm going to go to the dashboard in this particular case, because here's what I want all of us to begin using this and put it in. But you'll see what it will do. It's going to tell you where you're at automatically up here at the top. Then when you start putting in all of the information, it will show you where you are in regards to your goals. Okay? So that when I'm done and I click on leaderboards. Now, if you've been in AMP already or Accelerate on the gold side, they're probably having you go through the goal projector and you're in the RE scoreboard. So when I show you the leaderboard, and again, that's these three things right up here, but leaderboards, this is where you're going to be able to see really how you're doing. And we're just getting started on this. So Alana has put some of her activities in here. And you can see in the small group that I have, she's right up there at the top. But it's interesting, you see her points, but look what she's got over here for pending sales. How many of us would like to have 4 sales pending? What you're going to be able to see is how you're going to compare against everyone else who's in the system. So what I'm doing and what you can do, it will be, blue, you'll see all of the blue. Gold, you'll see all of the gold. When you see a lot of zeros, that's because that's probably either a mentor or a manager. We have to put them in so that we can see the entire scoreboard. Okay? Now, there's a benefit to this. This is a whole lot easier to do than the reports that we've got you doing, reporting your numbers. So for mentors, when your mentee starts reporting, and I want you to catch up here, the activity tracker, we have to put them in to the activity tracker. So if any of you got an invitation, probably from me, I think is what it would come to. It's a legit email. You can go ahead and do that. If you haven't got that invitation or you're missing it, check with me, check with your manager. And again, I'm just literally introducing this. They may, they should know, but if they don't, have them get a hold of me. This is where we're going to move to reporting our numbers, and there's going to be a big benefit because now you're going to be able to see where everybody is at. Are you falling behind? Are you in place? In mentors, if you want to play, feel free to put your numbers in here. And I hope it would be an obvious difference. I would say only put them in if you know that you're going to do it consistently. All right. But that would be the two things then. The goal projector, that's going to help you know how many appointments you should be going on per week, how many deals you need to close in a year. And it could be as something as simple as like what we were talking about for Ming, where her sphere of influence is such that one or two, and she's done $1 million in sales. For her to do 4 million sales, she's probably, 5 or 6 deals is all. If those turn out, am I right on that? Do I remember them right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but again, that means she's got to focus on that sphere because that's what she's counting on for that income. Everything is set based upon. So I'm going to say that that's pretty much set. Hello, wife. It is a little over. I apologize for that. Any questions that you guys might have as we wrap up?
So when on the RE scoreboard and it says pending, are you just looking at your listings that are pending, or does that mean your buyers that are?
Andre,
Independent.
you're a little quiet, so I'm getting closer to the TV. Ask that one more time.
Okay, so in the RE scoreboard and it says pending, are you looking at just your listings that are pending, or is that buyers who have contracts that are pending too?
That is both. So it's a pending. It's either a listing that is sold or a buyer controlled sale, either one of those, where they are now under contract. Great question. Good clarification. Any others? No? All right, guys. So if I'm right, we are together again in another 2 weeks. Anybody have that date in front of them? I don't think anything's going to interfere with us. And by the way, if you haven't figured it out, we're 2 weeks into the second half of the year. Summer is closing upon us.
August
We
4th.
need to be talking to people. August 4th. So August 4th is our next opportunity, 10 a.m. Make sure you spread the word to the others. I want to continue to grow. We are getting a little bit better. Currently, we got 21 online with us, and I know there's 3, 4 up in Lapeer. We've got 5, 6 of us here in Rochester. So let's spread, participate more. The more that you share, the more that you give, the more that you can learn. And by the way, this is what's going to help us as managers, your leadership team, and your mentors help you get better. But I can tell you one thing above all others, it's going to make the biggest difference. You need to talk to more people. Guys, if they're not coming to you, you got to go to them. And Robert talked to 100 people, which to most of you, if not all of you, that sounds like a lot of people. But I'll share with you that we're starting an inside sales associate position. These people that we're going to bring in will be on the phones Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. On the phone. They'll get a break at lunch. They'll also work on Saturday, 9 until 1. The expectation is that they will establish 1 appointment per day, 5 per week. You're getting a feeling of how that compares to what you've been doing, right? Now, we're using an active approach with these guys, but I want to give you that comparison. And again, a good coach is going to tell you what you need to know, so you'll go do what you need to do so that you can have all the things that you want to have, right? So as I call you out, look, if it's holding you back, if there's something holding you back, come see me, talk to me. You know, for many of you, I'm closer because I'm hanging out right now in Rochester a lot. Come see me, but let's get you where you got in this business to go to. So go at it. I'll see you in 2 weeks right here. Have a great one, guys. Rick, I'll give you a call as long as these guys don't hold me up too much. Talk to you soon, everybody.
Bye, Darwin.
Hey, and don't forget,
Thank
this is going to
you.
be online in the HRC Learning Agent Development channel, it's called. You can search that, it'll be there for you.
Okay.
See you guys.